For decades, you gave everyone your oxygen until you were breathing in the scraps. But the silence of an empty house isn't a void anymore. It's a workshop for the hunger you suppressed to keep others fed. And the ambition you set aside when the children arrived, when the marriage needed tending, when the family needed a center, that ambition did not die. It went into storage, quiet, patient, waiting for exactly this moment. It is time to stop apologizing for the audacity of wanting something for yourself. The silence of a debt repaid. There is a particular quality of quiet that arrives when the long season of caretaking finally winds down. It is not the empty silence of loss, though it can feel that way at first. It is the silence of a debt that has been paid in full, the noise of constant need, finally gone. Most women do not know what to do with it. They have spent so long attuned to the frequency of other people's requirements that the absence of that signal feels wrong, disorienting. They reach for busyness to fill it, volunteer for things they do not want to do, make themselves available in ways that are no longer necessary because the alternative, sitting with the quiet and asking what they actually want, feels almost dangerous. The heavy weight of duty that has been filling the space for decades was not only a burden, it was also an identity. When it lifts, it takes the identity with it. And in that opening, in that terrifying, spacious silence, something else stirs. Something older. Something that was there before the roles accumulated. The empty rooms are not a loss. They are a reclamation. Every room that no longer needs to be managed for someone else is a room returned to you. The question is what you intend to do with it. Meeting the stranger you set aside. Your ambition, after decades in storage, feels like a stranger. You are not sure of its shape anymore. You remember wanting things. Years ago, a project, a pursuit, a version of your life that was organized around what excited you rather than what was required of you. But the specifics have blurred, and the woman who wanted those things feels like someone you once knew rather than someone you are. This is the exact sensation of meeting someone you are nervous and excited to get to know. The unfamiliarity is not evidence that the connection is gone. It is evidence that time has passed. And the right response to meeting a stranger you once loved is not to walk away because they have changed. It is to be curious about who they have become. There will be guilt at first. There almost always is. The guilt of spending time on something that serves only you, not the children, not the grandchildren, not the household, not the community, can feel like a genuine moral failing. It is not. It is the residue of a system that convinced you your time had value only in proportion to its usefulness to others. Let the guilt be present, notice it, and then proceed anyway. Because the version of you that finally gives herself permission to pursue something that belongs entirely to her is not abandoning anyone. She is modeling something. She is showing the people who love her what it looks like when a woman takes herself seriously. And that is not a lesson you can teach by talking about it, only by living it. The move from reliable provider to audacious beginner is not comfortable. The beginner's position, not knowing, making mistakes, starting from zero in something you care about requires a particular kind of courage that the provider role never demanded. The provider role required competence. The beginner role requires the willingness to be incompetent in public temporarily in the service of something you want to become. That willingness is its own form of audacity. Building the architecture of private achievement, the home that was organized around service, is the same physical space that can now become organized around creation. The kitchen table where you managed everyone else's schedules can become the desk where you work on something that matters to you. The spare room that held someone else's things can hold your equipment, your materials, your half-finished work. The transformation does not require a new house. It requires a new relationship with the rooms you already have. In 2026, the tools available for a woman who is beginning something new are extraordinary. Online learning platforms offer access to instruction in almost any skill at a level of quality that would have required a university 20 years ago. Digital marketplaces connect makers to buyers without the need for retail infrastructure. Communities of practice exist in every niche, full of people at every stage of development. Global networks mean that a woman in her 60s with a skill, an insight, or a product she has built can reach an audience that her mother could not have imagined. The gap between too late and just beginning has never been smaller. What stands in the way is almost never practical. It is psychological. It is the voice that says this is not the right time, that you should have started earlier, that someone younger and more digitally fluent will do it better. That voice is not telling you the truth. It is telling you the story that kept you manageable for decades. Your focus needs protection now, not from laziness, you have never been lazy, but from the habit of availability. The people who are accustomed to having access to you will not immediately understand that the rules have changed. They will call during the hours you have set aside. They will arrive unexpectedly. They will have needs that feel urgent. Some of them will be genuinely urgent. Most will not. The practice of protecting your creative time is itself a form of self-respect that takes practice. It will feel uncomfortable at first. It will feel selfish. It is neither. It is the basic condition required for building anything of substance, the thrill of starting at the edge. Here is what no one tells you about beginning something serious in your 60s. You have advantages that younger beginners do not. You have decades of accumulated pattern recognition, the ability to read a situation quickly, to see what is actually happening beneath what is being presented, to distinguish between what matters and what merely seems to matter. You have survived disappointment at a scale that most beginners have not yet encountered, which means failure holds a different weight for you. You have lost things and continued. You know something about durability. You also have, if you are willing to look clearly, a specific and hard-won clarity about what you actually value. Younger ambition is sometimes indiscriminate. It reaches for everything because everything feels possible. Mature ambition is more precise. It knows what it does not want. It can afford to be selective. And selectivity in creative and professional work is not a limitation. It is a competitive advantage. The messy learning curve is real. You will not be good at this yet. There will be a period of fumbling, of producing work that falls short of what you imagined, of comparing your beginning to someone else's middle and feeling the disparity. This period is not evidence that you were wrong to begin. It is the required initiation for anyone building something new. It passes. And what is on the other side of it is the specific, quiet satisfaction of being genuinely good at something you chose for yourself. The radical joy of failing at something you actually love is unlike any other experience available to a human being. It is different from the exhaustion of succeeding at things that were required of you. It carries a quality of aliveness that competent performance of duty never could. The energy that was spent on others is not gone. It has been returned to you. The question now is what you want to build with it. The legacy that outlasts sacrifice. The version of you that finally chose to pursue something of her own is not abandoning the people you love. She is becoming something richer for them to know. A woman who is genuinely alive, who is learning, building, failing, trying again, growing, brings a quality of presence to her relationships that a woman who has exhausted herself in service cannot provide. Not because she is less available, but because what she brings when she is present is fuller, more real, less depleted. The contribution you make to the people around you when you are thriving is different in kind from the contribution you made when you were giving from a place of depletion. One is a transaction, something extracted from you at cost. The other is an overflow, something that comes from abundance, that costs you nothing to give because it is not coming from a diminishing supply. There is also something that happens to the women who watch you. Daughters, granddaughters, younger women who have not yet reached the moment of possibility you are standing in now. They are watching whether a woman of your age with your history of sacrifice decides to pursue something serious. They are watching whether ambition is something that gets a second chapter or something that expires. What you do now is not only for you. It is a data point in a larger story about what is possible. And that story matters. The most profound contribution you might make in the years ahead is not the next version of what you have always done. It is the version of you that finally had the audacity to begin. If this opens something in you that has been waiting for permission, share it with a woman who needs to hear it. And if you are not yet on this porch, subscribe, because this is exactly the kind of conversation we have here. I am Patricia, and I will see you next week.